Industry Insider is only available at Promo Corner, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Each Monday, they discuss, dissect, and debate a single issue impacting the world of promotional marketing from every industry perspective. Now, it's time for Promo Corner's Industry Insider.
Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider Podcast, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by three other lovely folks. But before we get to them, I am going to just tell you guys a little bit about our sponsor today. Our sponsor is, of course, Tervis Promos. So Tervis has been around since 1946, starting with their classic line. They've got sleek styles that make perfect for the active and on-the-go lifestyle. Tervis is the original double-wall insulated drinkware that keeps cold drinks cold and reduces condensation. They're backed by a made-for-life guarantee, and Tervis is the original customizable double-wall insulated drinkware that keeps cold drink cold and hot drinks hot. Available in several sizes, including a sippy cup, a wine glass, both stemmed and stemless. They've got a 10-ounce wavy, a 16-ounce mug, a 16-ounce and 24-ounce tumblers, and 24-ounce water bottle. They're made from Triton plastic, made in America, lifetime warranty, dishwasher safe, microwave safe, and BPA free. You should definitely check them out at tervispromos.com. You won't be sorry that you did. I know my favorite coffee mug is a Tervis Promos mug. So listen, go check them out, tervispromos.com. So as I said, I'm joined by three other lovely folks. Let's say hi to Steve McFadden with Perfect Promotions and More. How are you?
Hey, doing well. My headphones are taking about half of the screen today, but it's all good. There's some nice Rhapsodies I'm rocking.
Looks normal to me.
Head was
Got some premium sound blasting through the Rhapsodies today. So
that other voice is Meg Erber, our favorite Meg Erber, Big Meg.
Big Meg in the house.
Also a big loser this week.
and a whomping, I heard.
Whatever.
There was a bit of a spanking in fantasy football. You know, what can I say? We're also joined today by Brian Porter with Starline. Brian, how are you?
I'm well. How you all doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's super cool to have you on the show. I'm really looking forward to this. So for those of you guys that don't know Brian, Brian's a great dude, one of the best in the industry with Starline. And, he actually runs a podcast as well called the BP&J Show. And it's a really, really cool show. You should check them out as well. But we're here today to talk about PPPF, the Promotional Products Education Foundation, because this year has been a little bit difficult, obviously. And I know that PPPF does a ton of their fundraising during Expo. And with that going virtually this year, we'd like to just talk about that and then maybe see how we can bring some awareness to PPPF to help raise some funds this year. So, Brian, before we get into all that and we launch the topic, why don't you just give everybody a brief rundown, say 3 to 4 minutes of who you are, how you got started in the industry, and all things Brian Porter.
Right on. Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you guys having me on. I've watched this many times. You guys do an outstanding job. So it's good to get to hang out with some people you love. I've been in the industry about 23 years, I guess. I was trying to put pencil to paper, always on the supplier side. I actually started with Norwood, as many of us have, way back in the day, and went through this corporate training program, and it was great. You lived in Texas. You learned everything from the ground up. I mean, I printed stuff, samples, worked trade shows, all that kind of stuff. And then I moved to Kansas City, and I have been with national accounts. I was vice president of sales at Pro Towels. I was with Barton Nelson back in the day. I ran U.S. sales for Spectre for 4 years. And then for the past 3 years, I've been with Starline. So I kind of say that it's not the birthplace of the industry, but I grew up in Newton, Iowa. So for a very small town, it was Newton, it was Vernon, and it was Maytag in a town of 15,000 people. So I've known about the promo world my whole life. And it's my family. So
you know what, Brian? I'm kind of disappointed you didn't go with Maytag. I could see you being the Maytag man.
Maytag, yeah.
I
thought about it, but the promo world called. So yeah.
There you go.
Fair enough. Was it RCC or was it Souvenir Line that you were with?
So it was RCC. Yeah. It was great though, because it was so crazy. It was so long ago, right? Like pre-internet, pre-cell phones, all that kind of stuff. But I tell this story all the time. Like there was a facility on one side of the railroad tracks, right? And then on the other side was where we did all of our baseball caps and stuff. And trains would park on this track. And we used to run folders back and forth. And so the train would be 3 miles long. they'd go, just crawl underneath the train. And so we'd take the little file with the slick and crawl underneath the train or crawl over the train, and you just hope for the best. That's how crazy things were back in the day. So that was part of the internship, was risking your life for a trucker's cap that was going to be printed.
You
later.
know what? It's actually true. What we used to do back in the day. I was actually talking to Eric Levin from Jetline. We were laughing. Talking about the stuff that we used to do, and he's like, "Oh, I was talking to Rachel Levin." I'm like, I drove all the way up to Long Island and went skydiving with her, and he was like, "Well, you know what I did?" And I'm like, "We're nuts! Like, what?"
It just, you just didn't care. You're like, yeah.
I just can't imagine the email to the customer if that did go wrong. Be like, "I'm so sorry. Like, your order's not going to make it. Our CSR got run over by a train delivering."
No, we had to reburn the slicks because. So yeah. It was the best experience though, because you really, I feel like I really got this like MBA in promotional products. Like, we worked in every little area, and then basically whenever a territory would open up, you would be jettisoned out to wherever that market was. And I actually lived with, I got a roommate down there. His name is Eric Carr, and many of you guys know Big E. So that's how we met, and we lived together in this corporate condo, which was spectacular. But, and then he went off to Charlotte and I went off to Kansas City. So it was a great welcome to the industry. That's for sure.
All right. So natural selection obviously determined who got to make it in the promo industry back in your day. So I beg to
Darwinism at the best. Yeah.
I've got to ask the question, why would you crawl underneath the train instead of just going in between the two cars,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but we had to go in between the cars one way or the other. So you either had to, depending on what the car was, you either had to crawl over the connection or crawl underneath the connection. And some were taller than others, right? So, I mean, I wasn't like underneath the car, but I might as well have been.
You're a big guy though. I'm sure you could have leapfrogged those connections.
Yeah.
There aren't too many taller guys in the industry, You know
one of them.
Yeah, I know one.
I'm not one of them.
Sure. So fair enough. Well,
until I'm around Nick, and then I feel 5'4".
Well, imagine, being 6 foot and being around him, that's
right.
That's my life. So, well, listen, we are here to talk about PPEF, Promotional Products Education Foundation. So Brian, can you just give us a quick rundown as to what PPEF is, where it started, how it's, where it's come from its inception, and just give us, some information about PPEF.
So this has nothing to do with Personal Protection Equipment Foundation. This is not the.
Finally, we were going to talk about a PPE that doesn't have to do with that.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
good.
Yeah, you were close though. So PPPF is an organization. It's based out of the PPI headquarters, the Promotional Products Education Foundation. It got its inception back in the mid '80s, and has just been slowly growing year after year. And I really appreciate you guys talking about this, because as much as we've grown and as many scholarships we give out, there is still so many people that don't really understand what it is or know what it is. And so it is a scholarship fund that is set up, and any person in the industry, no matter what you do, from the CEO to the person who just came on board, your kids or yourself are available to apply for these scholarship funds. Okay. And so I actually came on the board 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, and I'm just coming off as the past chair. But what we do is every year we get together and we've got all these different fundraising events, right? But the thing that really struck me about PPF was the fact that every bit of money that comes in goes back out to the kids in some way, shape, or form at some point in time, right? And to give you an idea, when I first came on board 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, we were giving away about $185,000 a year in scholarship funds, right? And so we sit down and we reevaluate where we're at, how much we can give. And the goal is to obviously give as much as possible and obviously still be good, fiduciaries of all the funds, right? So this year alone, we gave over $276,000 in scholarships, right? And that was to 160 kids in some way, shape, or form that were, going off to college or continuing their education. And so since the inception, we've given away over $2.4 million. And usually those scholarships range from just over $2,000. We actually bumped it up from $2,000 to $2,250 to $4,000, just kind of depending on how those scholarships are allotted and what they apply for. So it's a huge benefit, you know, and people have really, over the last like 5, 6, 7 years, they've really started to pay more attention, and our number of scholarship applications have gone through the roof. Yeah, so we went from a manual process. Now it's all online. It's easier, but it's great. I mean, it's something that I believe, of all the things I've been involved in, it's been the one that's had the most immediate effect on the industry. So,
sure.
Brian, I don't know if you knew this or not. Kind of a plug, but in 2016, one of our employees, their son actually got the 4-year scholarship from PPPF.
That's huge. That's great. Yeah.
So,
I
awesome.
have a lot of kids. I need to get them on board and have to apply, because I have one in college. Well, actually 3 going for in college, and one is a senior and one is a junior right now. So
yeah, it's
that.
great. And one thing is, as we've gone over the years, we sit down and we reevaluate. Traditionally, we would do that in person in October, but we look at like, where does the money go, right? And about 65 to 70% of it goes to need-based kids as well. So everything's taken into account, right? There's your resume, quote unquote, like everything you've done throughout your high school career. And then they also submit an essay as well. And then they submit their financials with that. And the thing that I love is that a lot of the money does go to the kids who need it the most, which is huge, right? I mean, that's where it should be. So, yeah.
Now, how do you guys build the reserves and the funds for a scholarship like this?
Yeah, Stephen, obviously that's the most important part is continuing that. And so our biggest fundraiser year in, year out is always been tied into Expo. And it's the golf outing, which is on Monday. Obviously this year we are not going to be able to have that with Expo going virtually. So that's been a huge portion of that. We do a lot of different fundraising throughout the year. We've got our giving tree that we have at Expo. We actually have, it's great timing to be able to sit down with you all, because we have our Giving Tuesday campaign, which will happen December 1st. And so we'll coordinate that. The entire board sets a goal. We each try to go out and raise X amount of money. And we've traditionally raised anywhere between, you know, 10 to 15, 16, $17,000, kind of depending. And that will actually be enough money to fund 5 or more kids, which is huge, right?
Right.
And we'll obviously do the reach out that week following Thanksgiving. But for people that want to donate, you can go to www.ppef.us, and there's a donate button, and you can do that as well. But we try to do a lot of different things throughout the year and just tie it into, you know, the regional associations. We do have some regional associations that actually have their own scholarships, which are great, and they fund those scholarships. Other avenues are, we have named scholarships, right? So if somebody that's had a huge influence on the industry, for example, like Fran Ford, right? So that is a $50,000 scholarship that just runs continually, right? So it's a lot of people got involved with that and they donated to that. And obviously he was a huge part of so many people's lives. And then they just perpetually fund themselves as we move forward, which is beautiful. So, the one thing we've got to make up this year is obviously that big chunk of change that comes out of Expo. So, we're going to do everything we can. And, this type of format helps a ton. So thank you.
Brian, we haven't even gotten to that part of the of the podcast yet, but we've already got folks on Facebook asking where they can donate. And I see Meg has already replied. So Meg, help me with the name here, because I may end up butchering it. But Alex Lafarve, is that how you would say it? Lafarve? I apologize.
Alex F. L.
Yeah, it's Alex L. Come on, Steven. Get the last letter right, at least. So anyhow, he wants to shout out. He says, Brian, identify yourself, would like to donate today. Is there an online way to make the contribution, challenge everyone on the call today to make a donation? We are in. And I would 100% agree. We are going to put that call out there for sure. There's also a few other ways that you can actually donate, I believe, without even knowing you're really contributing. So Brian, I'm sure we'll maybe hit on smile.amazon.com. That's a way that you can contribute as well, correct?
Absolutely.
So, and essentially what that is, if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can pick many different charitable donation or charitable foundations that you basically, while you're doing your Amazon purchases, a small percentage of that goes back to the foundation of your choosing, but you have to go through smile.amazon.com in order for those, those purchases to count. So maybe we can, plug the link in the comments for that as well. But would highly encourage folks to do that, because it's literally third party. You're not even thinking about it, but you're still contributing quite a bit of money to PPEF. But I would highly encourage you also to click on the link that Meg posted in the comment section, and as Brian had mentioned, www.ppef.us /about giving. So, or about/giving. So that's definitely where you should go to make contributions. But Brian, tell us a little bit about Expo and sort of that, that being the basis or the main, I guess, campaign drive where you guys raise the majority of the funds. Because I know Janet McMaster reached out to Meg, which is how we got all this set up. And that's sort of where we learned a little bit about this. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so years ago, I believe it was Fran and CJ and Paul Loggy and Dave Saraceno and those guys. We were obviously looking for different ways to kind of create different events, right, that could drive, some fundraising. And so obviously Expo being the biggest draw year in, year out in the industry. So they started with a small crew, and then it actually just got out of control to the point where it would actually sell out basically the February before the next Expo, right? Wow. And so we actually looked at trying to move to a golf course where we could have a much larger crew. Then you start looking at logistics, and it's tough. But at the end of the day, it's been right down at Valley High, right next door to Mandalay Bay. And, we would raise in excess of about $75,000. That would, that's obviously for us, that's a huge portion of what we draw in, year out. So, it is going to be it'll be a climb this year to kind of overcome that. But with everything that we do, as we're looking at our funds, and we've had very successful campaigns over the past couple of years. Dana had a great, a tough year this year as chairman, but she did a great job of trying to maintain that. Chris Duffy is going to be leading the campaign this year for Giving Tuesday. So we're just trying to make a lot of that up in little different ways, right? We're still going to have our lending tree that's going to be associated with Expo, or our giving tree that's going to be associated with Expo, but it's a tough one. So we do obviously take very good care of our reserves, and we'll come through this. I know this is a tough year because everybody's in a very difficult position, right? This has been a crazy year, and a lot of people have suffered in many ways. And so it's that fine line between the ask, right, and asking during a very difficult time, and also understanding the need that is there for people that are their kids are still going to be going off to school, right? And they're going to need this more than ever. So the only thing I would say is for people that can give, whether it's $10 or up, right? Just do what you can. If you've been a part of this industry a long time, or if, like Steven, in his company, they were lucky enough to work hard enough and to get there and to take advantage of that. There's people that need it. So anything that people can give, we would love it. So.
Hey, Brian, I kind of have a loaded question for you here. So take it as you will. But one of the gaps, I think, in our industry as a whole is, getting younger people interested in the industry, sure, as well as getting a more diverse industry. Sure. And I can't help but notice the parallels to possibly your organization and maybe the role you can play in getting it into the education system, right? Because I think that's part of the biggest gap is it's just not taught about in colleges or high schools, and pretty much nobody knows about our industry until you fall into it, or someone or born into it, right? So I'm just wondering, does PPEF have any ties into the recipients or back into the universities in any way to try to help push the promo light a little bit into the school systems?
Yeah, it's a great question, Stephen. And actually, my first year, David Tate with Signet he and Danny Rosen had started a program where we were just trying to test the waters with that, right? And it's still an ongoing program, but it's still in that, we're going to kind of beta, figure it out stage. And basically what happened was they would fund a scholarship, each themselves individually, and it would go to someone at a very, a specific school. So for David, it was at Memphis, right? And along with that, they were given the ability to come in and speak at these, in a marketing class, those types of things. And, in some situations it went over very well, and in some situations it was more difficult based on the university, right? It had to be the right school, the right size, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, there's two things that come out of that, right? The fact that, and I see this even outside of PPF, where people are actually volunteering time to go into like KU and speak at in a marketing class. And I think that's something that we all should possibly try to take that angle. But the other thing is, I think we've done a really good job, and Sarah Besley, who runs PPF for us, she's done a phenomenal job of getting those, making sure that the kids that go through these programs understand the industry and what drives that. And it used to be the scholarships had to go to someone who was going to come back into the industry and work in some way, shape, or form, right? But now we looked at it as, no matter what, like if somebody goes out there and they become an engineer, or possibly they're working in a situation where they might have the ability to buy promotional products or use promotional products in some way, shape, or form, it's good that they understand that and they can kind of take that gospel and spread that out there, right? I mean, I don't think that's something that we can do enough of. As much as we become more prevalent out there as a viable option with, media and print and social media and all those types of things, I still think we just have a long ways to go. So we're trying to do everything we can to push that.
And are you doing anything in conjunction with the Expo direct to you that they're doing in January, or is it?
Oh, yeah.
As far as
like for fundraising or anything, like, I mean, are you?
Yeah, we're still going to have our giving tree that is going to be available, and that will be, posted throughout, on different links, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's such a
Brian, what can you explain what that is? I know I've heard of it, but I'm not really sure what that is.
Yeah. So basically, we would have our board meeting on the Sunday prior to Expo, right? And then we would all literally get these little apples and leaves and all these types of things. And then throughout Expo, we would, I would talk to you guys and whomever I could run into and say, hey, would you like to donate to PPF, right? And then we have this literally physical large tree, kind of in that main hallway of Expo. And for everybody that donated, they got a little apple to put on their badge, and they also could take this apple and put this on this tree, right? And it was great because you know what it's like there, and everybody's excited, and it's the beginning of the year, and the juice is flowing. And at the end of the day, it did two things that helped to obviously raise money, and that it also, was a visible sign of PPF and how many people are actually getting involved at any level, right? So we're going to try to emulate that, and then I know there's other things that we're continually working on, to try to make up that lack that we'll have from the golf outing. So.
Fair
What
enough.
if people can't give maybe of their resources? Is there a way that they can give of their time? Like, do you guys have any volunteer opportunities for those that want to get involved?
Yeah. I mean, there's always, events that we have going on where we would, need volunteer type things. And I would just suggest reaching out to, to Matt, who's going to be the chair, or to Dana as past chair. I just got a text this morning about, getting involved. So, there's things that happen that we definitely, need volunteers. And obviously you can be, a volunteer just by taking information and going out to your company, right? We're more than happy to send you materials that you can hang up, at the office, or that you could send out. Now may be the case more with less people at work, but you can email out and just let people know that it's available, right? There's still, I mean, if you walk into an office, there's a really good chance that 75, 80% of the people that work there aren't familiar with what PPF is, and it's still a major benefit for them. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Mark Shen chimes in. He says that you can actually make a multi-year contribution as well, as his company did. They did last year. They did a 6-year commitment. So that's something that you can do as well if you want to. If you guys want to contribute long term, that's certainly something that you can do also, and highly encourageable.
That's correct. Yeah, Mark, great guy, and really appreciate that. And so that allows you to break that up over time. So usually they're a $6,000 donation minimum, and then that's broken up over 6 years. So you can do it individually, you can do it as a company. We've had both, right? But it does allow you to give over time. So.
And I'm sure this is probably being thought about some people, and I'm sure it's available on the website. 501c3, like for those that donate. Is that correct, Brian?
That's correct. Yep.
All right. Anything else you guys want to cover about PPEF or any other questions? Meg, looking at you, kid.
So much. Because I didn't know a lot about it, Brian, so I wanted to kind of sit back and listen, and I really just learned so much. I think it's incredible that for the last 5 years this has been going on, and you guys have just been just doing this, and it's really just so amazing, because there's so many people out there that need it and maybe don't, and now that they're starting to hear about it, maybe they're too ashamed to even ask. I think when it comes to money, people, it's a very delicate situation, especially this year. So being able to put this out to the masses in any form is wonderful. And I think just advocating for it, I think we should all do that. I'd like to challenge anyone that is listening today to, if you have $10, just send it in. That's a minimum, donation. That would be awesome. And I'm going to donate as well today. I'm like looking over all the winners. That's like so exciting. You see all their faces, and it's like, that's really exciting.
Yeah, it's great to get the list or to see all the people that received the scholarship, the kids, right? And then I look through and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's that person's son or daughter, right? And you don't realize how much it affects, so many people within the industry. So I do love that part when we finally get to the awarding side and we get to give those things out. So it's great. Yeah.
Meg, do you have any idea how much money you could have saved by now?
No, we
Don't think about it. Just get involved now. I know.
Well, we just had a call with Penn State yesterday, so I'm gonna have Kaylee jump on that ASAP.
It all helps, right? Yeah. No doubt.
God bless you. All right. Well, I guess with that said, if there's nothing else to cover with PPEF, again, just highly encourage you guys to go click on the link that's in the comments, www.ppef.us. And there's an about giving section in there. Go, please donate. They definitely need some help this year, considering, the major fundraiser of Expo is not an in-person event. So it's going to cause some, obviously some potential issues with, gaining the amount of funds that they need to really help our young ones get into higher education. So with that being said, we'll jump into rapid fire, and we'll start with Meg Erber.
All right. Well,
you're getting used to it now,
huh? So my question is, and when the answers come out, you'll see why I asked it. My question to you, to the guys, have any of you ever had to fight a girl?
I don't know if I want to answer this question.
I guess I can go first.
Yeah.
So I wrestled in high school.
Oh man.
I had to wrestle a gal. I don't know if that counts, but other than that, the answer would be no.
So did you have to actually wrestle a girl?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you win or lose?
I won.
Okay.
If I lost, I still wouldn't tell you. I mean,
I was gonna say, that was gonna be the answer regardless.
Jeff?
I don't. How do you answer this? Yeah, once. I think I was in like second or third grade, and this girl was in like fifth grade, and she was a bully, so I had to put her in her place.
Good.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Beard always wins. Did you have that beard when you were in second grade? Because I feel you might have been able to grow a beard that young.
I was probably shaving. No, I didn't have it.
I love it.
No, Brian, has this ever happened to you?
Officially, I haven't had to, but I was very close one time. I was at a watering hole in Chicago, and just everyone having a great time. And all of a sudden, this giant tray of drinks spills down my back, and I'm like, what the heck was that? And I turn around, and there is the Jetline posse led by the one and only Meg Erber. And she is ready to destroy me. And I am like, what is going on? And who are all these people? And this is not going to go well for anyone here. And then Joe comes out, Joe Hoffman, the Peacemaker, and he comes in. He's like, I love BP. I love Meg. You guys should meet. And then that's how I met Meg. Was and I didn't know how, all the jujitsu and all the badness that was, how tough she is in there. I'm lucky. I got lucky, I think. So.
Well, for the record, they weren't my drinks. I don't even remember who it was, but I was like, who's this guy? Like, fronting on us. And I'm like, all right, I got this, guys. Back up. And Brian Porter towers over me. I don't even know what I was thinking.
That was, we do have a great story there. It was,
Yeah.
There was a lot of good people in that room. That was great.
There were.
Fair enough.
Go ahead,
Stephen
Jeff.
McFadden.
So since Brian, since you're from Kansas City, barbecue,
Yeah. Yes.
tomato based, vinegar based, or mustard based?
Well, so, in Kansas City, we do everything well. I love all the barbecue here, but I do love a bit. Come on, man. But I like a vinegar based myself. I like a good vinegar based. But I'll tell you, when I get down to the Carolinas, there are some hidden gems that mustard based. Oh man, like so good. So I just like to eat in general. So I'm equal opportunity, but yeah.
I feel like
Jeff,
the Carolinas are vinegar based.
Yeah, North Carolina is vinegar based. South Carolina and lower is mustard based.
You get that mustard in South Carolina, yeah.
I love a good. I'll go next. I love a good vinegar barbecue. If you go anywhere else, there's no other way. Sorry.
Meg?
So I'm not really the my boyfriend, if you open up a refrigerator, it's all fucking barbecue sauces. It drives me.
Barbecue. I only eat salads.
No, I don't eat salad.
Now we have to put a disclaimer on this podcast, Meg.
I just started to sound like BP&J. It's
Next time I will literally just have all my barbecue sauces out. I actually told him he wasn't allowed to buy anymore until he started throwing some out. So the outside fridge is where they've all been moved to.
Oh,
So
no.
I just like my
Tomato, vinegar, or mustard, Meg?
spicy.
Yeah,
Vinegar.
answer the question. It's rapid fire.
Vinegar.
Vinegar.
There you go.
Tomato for me.
Love it.
All right, so I'll go next. What's your favorite holiday tradition? Because I've got two little ones, and I want to instill some really good holiday traditions for my girls. And so I want to figure out what your all's, because you all have kids, what is your favorite Thanksgiving Day tradition or Thanksgiving, Black Friday, whatever, that this time? Anybody?
I was thinking Christmas when you said that.
I was thinking Christmas.
We just do Christmas?
Can we go Christmas?
No, it's Thanksgiving because it's not Christmas yet, Meg. Maybe I'll ask this question again in a month, okay?
All right. Putting up Christmas decorations right after Thanksgiving.
There you go. That's fair. That's fair.
Love it. I love it.
Well, it's usually a good time that we normally are allowed to have our family together. So we generally just try to take some family pictures for Christmas cards. You know, I never get them out. Sorry, Michelle Bell. I know I get yours every year, but nobody gets mine ever. So pictures and putting up the Christmas tree.
Oh, can I change my answer?
No.
Oh.
Yes, go ahead.
So the morning of Thanksgiving, we used to do a big turkey bowl, and it was a tackle football game the morning before, and we'd get all the alumni from our high school together. We've kind of stopped doing that. People have lost pieces of their ear and stuff like that. So, and I'm older now, so
It really does take its toll. So.
that was one of my favorite things.
That's a great tradition when you're in your teens or your early 20s. Not so great for my 3-year-old, my 2-year-old.
Come on, girls. Let's go.
Start them early.
Yeah. So we in Kansas City, they have this tradition down in the plaza, which is this cute little area where they light the plaza. And so we've done that in the past, and they flip the switch, and it's usually freezing. Well, this year, obviously, nobody's getting together to do that. So we also will try to do that weekend. There's this arboretum that's close, and they do this luminary walk, and it's amazing. And I'll tell you, if you have anything close, take the kids, because it's just so much fun, and it's dark out and everything's lit up, and they have the carolers, and so it gets you in the Christmas spirit, the holiday spirit right after Thanksgiving, which is the best. I mean, food and football, it's my favorite holiday. So
It doesn't get enough love, does it, Brian? It's just smacked right in between with Halloween, and then it goes straight to Christmas.
Like the middle child. It's just
I know.
never gonna get enough love. But it's a great kid. So yeah.
It's a great kid.
There you go.
So
All right, Brian, what's your question to us? And then we'll wrap things up.
Same vein. For Thanksgiving, what is your one dish you cannot go without? What do you got to have on the table?
I mean, are we talking side
Including
dish?
turkey?
You can outside excluding the turkey. Yeah, you got to have a side dish. Okay.
I am a big fan of, I don't care who has anything to say about this, but some canned cranberry sauce. I don't want your fresh.
With the ridges on it. Yeah.
Get that shit out of here. I like the can. I'm sorry. And I make a really mean homemade gravy, but you know.
Nice. I like it.
Depending on where you're from, it's either called dressing or stuffing, but you got to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have that mashed potato. You gotta
Stovetop, throw it together. Does it matter?
What's that for me?
Does it matter like homemade or
Homemade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
is this stovetop or stuffed in the bird?
Oh yeah.
Oh, stovetop.
Yeah. I like stovetop too.
Yeah, it's not mushy. It's like got crispy.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. For me, man, I got to go with some mashed potatoes. You know, you can't have Thanksgiving dinner without mashed potatoes.
Fair.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to answer the question too, just because we need another dish.
Now I'm hungry.
I know.
So this is like a tradition. My grandmother would make these like amazing baked beans, and they were all smoked and thick and so good. And even though it's not like something you would traditionally have at Thanksgiving, like now my brother makes them, and it's this tradition. And like I will overdo the baked beans, man, just because we get them like once a year. So.
Your poor wife. One other tradition actually I wanted to tell you guys about. I every year, I don't know if you ever see it on, you probably will because it's getting picked up and it's getting a lot bigger and bigger every year. One of the most famous Christmas movies obviously is the Clark Griswold one and
Yes.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes, thank you. I actually had a brain fart. So there is a house down the street from me. It's literally like maybe 2 blocks away that their entire house looks like the house from the movie. They've got Clark Griswold out there. They've got the Quaid guy, Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid, Shitter's Full. Does he actually have a host store underneath
Hit
the
the neck for me, Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the house, they have the van, they have everything, and they make a big donation bin for Toys for Tots. And the news picks it up, and they're adding like full people this year. Like they're actually adding Clark as well, and he moves, so it's really exciting. So Toys for Tots, that's my neighbor.
Can I do a shameless plug?
I don't know. I just thought I'm really excited.
All right, quick shameless plug. So normally we do like that big 5K race every year in December that I've been doing for the past 6 years, and with COVID stuff, we've postponed that. But this year we didn't want to let an event die, so we're actually doing a drive-in movie. I'm bringing in a 55-foot screen from Virginia down here, and we're doing a 2 movies. So we're doing the Grinch at 5:30, and then National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation at 8:30. So hoping to have about 250 cars per show, and it's all going to charity. So we're excited that we can do something.
That's great.
That's super cool, man. Yeah, you got to love a good drive-in movie. And yeah, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation for sure is a Christmas tradition for sure. All right, guys. Well, listen. Again, we are brought to you today by Tervis, and they've added their stainless to their well-established line as well about 2 years ago, and they've got the goal of basically being better than the competition by utilizing state-of-the-art custom 360-degree UV printing. They're available in 4 different sizes: 12-ounce, 20-ounce, 30-ounce, and they've got a 24-ounce water bottle. They've got a 5-year warranty, 18.8 copper lined, vacuum insulated, and keeps your drinks hot for 8 hours or cold for 24 hours. Definitely go check them out at tervispromos.com. You won't be sorry that you did. Brian, I really definitely appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you for bringing awareness to PPPF, and just really glad to have you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you guys bringing this to light and shining on it. It's great timing with Giving Tuesday coming up. So thank you for that.
That's awesome. All right. Well, very well. Thanks, guys. And be sure to join us next week as well. Take care.
Take care.
You guys.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Promo Corner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit promocorner.com.